Hey guys, Susan Thomas here, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a French flower ring. So today I'm going to teach you guys how to make a ring. I'm calling it a French flower ring. Don't ask me why I'm calling it that. That's just what I think it looks like. I was going to name it in French, but everybody made fun of me, so we're going with French flowers. Okay, it's French flowers. But it's a lot of fun, and I just think it looks like rows of flowers on top of your finger, and that's kind of what made me think of it. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. We're going to use some different tools. It's going to be a great time. If you love this video, don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified of any of my other videos, and you'll learn lots about making jewelry. All right, to get started making the French flower ring, you are going to need some basic tools and supplies. You will need your ring mandrel. You're also going to need a chain nose plier and a flush cutter. And then we're going to be using a tool that is called an AccuLoop plier, which is really cool. It actually has markings on it that are marked by millimeter, so 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter, and so on, all the way up to 8 millimeter, so you can make different size loops, and they're always the same size. It's really a cool tool, I love it. And then we'll need some wire. We're gonna use a 20 gauge wire for the base of the ring and a 28 gauge wire to wrap all those little beads inside the loops we make. And finally, we're going to use some 3 millimeter round beads. I'm going to use some chalcedony today, some blue chalcedony. So you can see right here I have a little bit of it started. This is just a little sneak peek of what you're going to do right here, just so you kind of get an idea of where we're going. That is that center part of that ring right there. So that's what I'm about to show you how to do right now. So I'm going to pull about 2 feet of my 20 gauge wire off my spool, and I'm going to give that a cut. Let's make sure I get enough. All right, so to get started with this project, we're going to start right at the center of our 20 gauge wire, and we're going to start making this little section of loops like I have right here. So I'm going to make 2 millimeter loops because they for some reason the 2 millimeter loops fit those 3 millimeter beads just perfect. So I'm just going to use my AccuLoop plier, and you can see that's marked 2 millimeter, and I'm going to start by making a loop all the way around the plier, and then I'm just going to pull the wire straight on either side. So see there, I've just got one good looking loop right there. All right, and then we're going to make another loop, and you want the next loop to be on the opposite side of that. And I found I like it best when they're pretty much directly across from each other. I think the rings look the prettiest. Now, you don't have to do it that way, but I've made several, and I think it looks the best like that. So that's how I've been doing it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to roll this into a loop on the opposite side of the wire, and then just kind of move it into place so it's right directly across of the first one. And so then I'm going to go on the other side like so. And so see how now I'm just putting the side of the plier, that's my 2 millimeter side, that's the side I'm about to make that loop on. So I'm just putting it right there. I'm going to wrap it around, try to get this other guy out of my way. There we go. And wrap it and just place it right next to that one. And then we just kind of get that straightened out just a little bit. You want to straighten it out after every loop so that you get a nice straight row of flowers. So now you got 3, and now next guy's going to go right there. So wrap. And like you can see here on this one, now I'm kind of far away. I'm going to show you how I'm kind of far away from where I need to be. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of roll that in and then tighten with the wire until it's in the right spot. There. So there is my little section for my flowers. Now the next step is just to make a basic ring. So we're going to take our form that we have started with all the rest of our wire, and we're going to grab the ring mandrel, and we're going to decide what size we want to make. So I want to make a size 7 with this because that's what fits this finger the best. So I'm going to start out at the size 8. So see, I'm putting my flower segment right there on that size 8. And that's because when you make these rings, they have a tendency to shrink. So it's just a tip from me to you. Okay, so we're just going to wrap 2 times on this side of our flowers, and then straighten that wire out on that side, And then we're gonna wrap 2 times on the other side of the flowers. Let me get my thumb back in place there to hold it. And 1, 2. So now you can see what I'm gonna do is pull those wires underneath my flower segment. Now this is a little tricky because I have to pull this off of the mandrel just like this and hold it in place while I then start wrapping the sides of this. Normally you'll have a little wrap to hold it in place, but for this ring you do not have that, so you're gonna have to be pretty careful. So pull it off of there like so, and just kind of holding one side. I'm gonna take this side and I'm gonna wrap it. And see how I'm holding the other side so it doesn't come apart? I'm just gonna press that through the center. And once you get this side done, you're home free. So just one wrap, and this is a little bit difficult, so I'm just going to take my chain nose plier and pull that through like so, and then I'm going to wrap across the top, and then I'm going to push through the center, grab it with my chain nose plier, and pull. So I did 2 little wraps on that side, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Then you're just want to, I've got a lot of extra wire here, we're going to trim that off with our flush cutter on the inside of the ring, so. And just want to get right up inside there. There we go. And then I'm going to take my chain nose plier and I'm going to press that little piece in on the inside with my chain nose plier, and then just check it and make sure that it's not rough or it doesn't stick out. I usually press it kind of into the band of the ring, and that usually does a great job of hiding that little end, like so. And then I'm going to pop this back onto my ring mandrel and push it up to that size I was going for, which was a size 7. There I am on my size 7. And just kind of straighten everything up. So now you are ready to add your flowers. So at this point you can just pick your color. I'm choosing to use this blue chalcedony because I haven't made one in that color yet. And so I'm going to fill every single one of these little loops that I made with a little piece of blue chalcedony. And to do that, you're going to need to use 28 gauge wire, which is a really, really fine wire. It's about 0.3 of a millimeter, I believe. You really only need about 7 inches of this 28 gauge wire. So I'm just going to clip a little bit of that. And so I'm just going to bring that wire through that very first loop, and I'm just going to give myself a handle to hold on to. Always do that because it makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to wrap 2 times around this. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and go 3 times just to kind of get this real secure. And see how I'm kind of pushing up from the bottom. I'm having to string it through and then pull. So when you get that loop like that, if you'll put your finger inside that wire, it'll keep it from kinking. So there's 3 wraps, and I'm just going to push this all the way over to the edge and squeeze that together so that they look real pretty and neat. And then that is ready. So now I've attached my wire, and I'm ready to then start attaching my beads. So I'm going to grab one of my little chalcedonies and pop it onto the end of the 28 gauge wire, and it's just going to just sit right down. See how it just kind of sits right down into that little loop I made? And then rather than going into the next loop, I'm going to go down into that same loop right next to my piece of chalcedony. So I'm just going to push it right down into that loop, and I'm going to pull on the other side. And then same thing, see how I put my finger in there, my thumbnail, just to kind of keep that from kinking until I get it all the way pulled down. And then see how it just kind of snugs right down into that little loop. And then from there, I'm going to go up through the next loop. So from the bottom, I'm going to string up through the next loop. So it's kind of like sewing a little bit. But same thing, I'm just going to put my finger in there just to make sure that doesn't kink. And then you're going to go around this one a couple times. So that's 1 time, and then I'm going to pull 2 times. So I want to have 2 solid wraps around this before I add my next bead, and that's going to pull this bead down tight and secure the next bead as well. Next bead, let's see. So then this next guy is going to snug right down into that little loop, and then you're going to go down through that loop, that same loop that you're working on right now. So kind of move your bead out of the way, go down through the loop like so, and that wire is going to try to spring back on you, but you can make him go where you want him to. So hold it in place, make sure you don't kink, and pull down into the loop like so. All right, let me pull, and then I'm going to push up through again, And one more time. So you want 2 wraps around every single loop. And I just always suggest that you guys are consistent. So if you put 2 wraps around one loop, make sure you put 2 wraps around the next loop and vice versa. And then we're gonna finish this side off because it doesn't look good if you try to go over to the next side from here. So what you're gonna do is you did 3 wraps on that side. So we're just gonna go down through. And we're gonna make 3 wraps on this side just like we did on the first side. Okay, so there we go. There is our 4 pieces on that side, and we're just gonna trim off the extra wire on each side. And if you're good, you should kind of get them up inside there, but if you have just a little piece sticking out, just take your chain nose and just press that down. All right, so there's those 4. And now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Then you just kind of go down through 3 times and finish off this last piece. And there we go. Perfect fit. So I hope you guys liked learning how to make a French flower ring. I thought it was lots of fun. Don't forget the tools and supplies you need. You're going to need that ring mandrel, and you're also going to need your AccuLoop plier, which may be a new tool for some of you. It's really fun, and it's marked with all those millimeter sizes on it, that 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 8 millimeters. Great tool. We're going to use a chain nose plier and a flush cutter, and you will have to have some 20 gauge wire and also some 28 gauge wire and some 3 millimeter round beads. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys would like to pick up some supplies like the ones we worked with today, check out the links down below. What are your favorite kinds of flowers? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell, and we'll see you again next time.